Well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another live episode of Jacob's Ladder. And of course, I am your host, Jacob Israel, and I'm glad that you're joining me. It's fun to get together, isn't it? Especially with the week that we have had. Everybody let me know if you hear me okay by smashing the like as we get ready to talk about this incredible adventure we're about to go on together. My goodness, we're going everywhere today. We're going to space, if it exists. Aliens, motherships, comets, Halo, the horrible storm that is still posing a threat to, now Cuba and then the Bahamas, and there's so much happening. We have rogue monkeys on the loose. We have so much happening that I couldn't wait to get here to talk to all of you. We have a lot of people letting me know that the sound is great. That means that I can really begin with this Vision 2030 for not just Jamaica, but for the world, for us all. You probably noticed on that thumbnail, you got two words: don't snap. Now, if you know anything about the stuff that's going on in the government right now, it's been shut down for a while. You know that by November 1st, there are going to be a lot of people that they're going to have no access to food. Unless it's coming from some kind of a food pantry or some kind of a charity or something. Hopefully that we can all reach out to our local charities and our local food, places. I'm actually going to be doing this myself. I think it's important. We should probably get a little more involved. Hopefully some stores will start throwing little fundraisers and little things where you can drop off a can like they do, because Thanksgiving is around the corner. And we have a lot to be thankful for, but things are precarious right now. Things are precarious. Jobs are being lost by robots, AI. People are laying off jobs like you wouldn't believe. I mean, we're talking big time jobs like Amazon is just laying off 30,000. So much to get into. We're going to take this one step at a time. Take a look at that thumbnail. There's a lot going on. Anybody in the live chat hear about how President Donald Trump was given a crown today? I see everybody here. I'm glad that we got a lot of people here already. Do me a favor, don't forget. You got to smash the like, and you got to let your friends know to come on over and hang out with the old Jacob. Some things we got to talk about, okay? You know me with the dreams. How many of you share your dreams now because you've been watching me for years, and for years I'll have like a weird dream and something, then I'll put the dream out, and now it's gotten to the point where when I put these dreams out, I start to expect it to happen. So, with all the terrible flooding that's going on everywhere, horrible what just happened in Jamaica. And we're going to talk about that today because there's some, like everything, I like to take the literal story and I like to kind of find some kind of encouraging, positive message that's found within it. Could always be worse, as they say, but it was really, really bad. And I know that a lot of you were praying, and I was praying, and I was hoping to see that, it could have gone out to sea, but God sometimes has other plans. Now, I had a dream on the 20th of October, and you probably see it right there. I had this massive flood in my home, and it was funny because it wasn't like my home. It was like a big area, and it's ironic because when all this stuff was going on with Melissa, the name means honeybee. It comes from a nymph that, fed Zeus, I think, honey. That's where the name comes from. There's a little bit of worthless knowledge. But a honeybee is very significant, of course, because of all the people that are to try to get that hive mind going. The honeybee is significant because, of course, the honeybee was part of Samson's story. It was what was found inside the carcass after Samson ripped that lion in half. But I had this dream. There was a well in the center of it that I needed to dive in to open it. An abyss, if you will. The water receded out. I worried about mold. And then, of course, you see the picture to the right. Here we are. It was exactly 7 days later, and we have this hurricane barreling down, and Boca Raton and others hit with massive floods to their homes. All of this, it's a little weird to me. So what do? I go to my X feed. And by the way, if you're not following me on X, you should. It's at JacobIsrael71. I just had a massive viral video on X, like a 3-minute video. If you saw my last show on President Trump in the ballroom, where I had basically likened the ballroom to the temple of God, and I did a whole show about how the plans were exactly like the temple plans, and I even turned 1 Chronicles 28 into a song, and I put this video together, and in it 700,000 people have watched it. Now my YouTube channel is growing subs again. It's exciting. My last video's doing what it used to do before the purge of the algorithm, tearing everybody down, keeping everybody quiet. But now, possibly, after 3.5 days, the witnesses are brought back to life. This is found in the book of Revelation. We're going to get into it today. It's Revelation 11:7. 11:7, which you can see right there, is on Master Chief's outfit there, which is weird. You know the show Halo? It's on Netflix. Started watching it. Like, I'm into it too. I like sci-fi. And I'm into the final episode of season 1. Master Chief is called a demon. He's called a beast. It's very wild because it's this intergalactic type of battle that's going on between aliens and between, these nanotechnology, super advanced super soldiers that, as GameStop announced that the console wars were over, PlayStation, Xbox, all of them, they used to keep games to themselves, and you'd have to buy a certain console if you wanted to play that game, Halo being one of them. Well, the console wars are over. All of this is very interesting because it connects. So let me take this one step at a time. Hurricane Melissa, okay? Honeybee. It barreled down and it moved in like right outside of Kingston. Kingston wasn't hit, which is pretty great. It could have been a lot worse, but it did strike exactly in a place called New Hope, which is very interesting to me. After I had this dream about the whole flood and everything else, and I make the connection together, I went to the X feed and I looked up what else had I been talking about with floods and storms. And you know me, how I like to sometimes be a little creative, and I'll see like a McDonald's ad, like from their new series Lost in McDonald Land. I get a kick out of this. Look at the time right now, huh? That's pretty good timing, especially since we're going to be talking about. Did you see my baby? That's my baby too. That's Danielle. That's the Danielle. She's so beautiful. She's so beautiful. All right, so Lost in McDonald Land is their new show. And of course, they put out this episode 4, which was, if you take a look at it, it looks like they're going through a storm. And in the background, you can see like kind of a cemetery, and it says the words discontinued. And it kind of looks a little like almost New Orleans-ish. But I put out a post right on top of it. I'll show you right here. I'll bring it down a little bit, and you can take a look at it. And I said, "Damn you, McDonald's. I refuse to acknowledge the future hint of a terrible flood near a famous park like Disney or the like," which is interesting because it's a vacation spot. Now, What's wild about that, and I'm not going to waste your time on just McDonald's, but I find this interesting because I saw this one. Let me blow it up for you. And I saw a storm. And in the background, you can probably see there's that little cemetery looking thing that says discontinued. Well, Jamaica is known for a very famous cemetery. It's the oldest cemetery, and it's being renovated right now, which is really cool. Very cool. And if you take a look at it, it just kind of reminded me of it. Now, I'm looking back in time, right? I didn't look at that post and say, oh, it's going to be Jamaica. I thought like a tourist place. I thought like maybe a Florida. God forbid things get worse with this storm. It's starting to fizzle, all right? It's starting to fizzle, which is good. But I thought that it was weird that here we are. I had a vibe that some kind of flooding would happen, and now we have all this horrible, horrible flooding. And that cemetery kind of does. It kind of resembles it a little bit. Does that mean that McDonald's are a bunch of time travelers? I don't think so. Well, maybe, maybe it's all written. Maybe it's all script. Maybe they know. Maybe nothing's new under the sun, like the book of Ecclesiastes said. And they're just the rulers of this, matrix that kind of refreshes and reboots when the aliens come on, and like the Anunnaki returning, which is what a lot of people think is on the horizon, because we have Comet 3I Atlas, which is all over the news. All over the news. But let me go a little bit deeper into this, because this is weird. This is where AI ties into this. So, of course, I start digging into this, and I start saying, I wonder if Jamaica or Kingston or anything was mentioned in this episode. And so I asked the AI, and I said, does it? And it said to me, it said on October 1st, 2025, Easter Eggs Unearthed, Episode 4, posted by the official McDonald's YouTube team, the art director Elena Vasquez shared behind-the-scenes sketches of a graveyard of discontinued menu items, highlighting how the team incorporated global fan nods like the Jamaican graffiti and Grimace's storm quip, which he says in the actual film. Supposedly, the storm quip was, this is worse than a Category 5 hurricane in a Kingston. So I'm reading this, and I'm thinking the AI's telling me, like, oh my goodness gracious, not only did I think that that was about Jamaica and what's happening, and somehow that was, I don't know, written into the fabric of reality so we could kind of read the code of the Matrix and know what's coming. But it turns out I couldn't verify it because, see, I don't just take the AI's advice all the time, right? The words, I double check things and I triple check things because I don't want to give out wrong information. So I can't substantiate whether or not this is true, but it would be very cool if it was. This whole thing just gives me flood vibes, right? Flood vibes. I've been talking about flood, the floods, the flood, the flood. Because we know, of course, we've been talking about it for a long time since Elon put that out. The 7-Eleven sign, 7-Eleven, 7-Eleven. That's Genesis 7-Eleven, by the way. That's what I like to interpret it as, where God opens the floodgates of heaven. But heaven is within us, so it's really not about a literal flood, but it's about a spiritual one. It's about the truth of God, destroying all of the carnal nature in man, destroying the Antichrist nature in man, because its mind is on evil all the time. But it was wild because as I'm talking about flood vibes and everything else on X, then the Homeland Security comes out with destroy the flood. Destroy the flood. Finishing this fight. Finishing the fight. Destroy the flood. And I think that's weird. We have all this stuff going on. We have big-time Congress influencers who pose in bikinis. Luna's her name. You know her. She's all about the aliens. She's talking about the aliens. Everybody's all about the aliens. And here we go. The White House celebrates the end of the console wars. Power to the players. And I think to myself, console. Because we're supposed to console each other in the Word. Isn't that right, everybody? We're supposed to console everybody. And hey, I see so many people are here. Will you do me a favor? About to, like, maybe smash the like. Let's get a bunch more people here, and do me a favor if you don't mind. And if you're new, by the way, the live shows, I ramble a little more. You know, if you like the more short stuff, you can go and watch the videos that are clipped. Hope you watched my last one. It's, I mean, viral on right now. It's viral. It's really crazy. But there's something interesting because, you know, the storm that Donald Trump was talking about, he said the storm that's coming. You don't know about the storm, you know, maybe it's the calm before the storm. And then here we have this huge storm that hits. But look at the two places where it hits. This was the news that was going around that Mandeville is going to get the worst of the blow. While Kingstown, the town of Kings, well, they're going to be all right. As the Category 5 hurricane hits New Hope. New Hope. Now, I've talked to all of you about the, can you hear me okay? Toot, toot, toot. I've talked to all of you about how in the judgment at the end, that there's two groups of individuals, much like the cicadas that came out just a little while ago. And those individuals in the Bible are, they're compared to goats, and they're compared to the sheep. Kind of a, you know, we don't want to, goats are cute too, right? But it's kind of just an allegory. It's a metaphor, because a goat, you know, is a little harder to wrangle. You know what I mean? And it's a picture of like these two sets of individuals, carnal individuals, and we'll say more Christ live, you know, like the wheat and the tares. The wheat is filled with seed and filled with life, and it can produce grain. Where the tares, they're bold, they're proud, they stand up, they got no seed in their head, they got no truth. It's a picture of people that are carnal and people that are man devils and people that are kings, that are ruling and reigning in Christ. And what does that mean, to rule and reign with Christ? Well, we rule and reign with Christ in the kingdom of heaven. Where's the kingdom of heaven? Within. How do we do this? Well, Christ in you is the hope of glory. So imagine your thoughts being, you know, these things that are brought between us, these spirits that come in, deceptive spirits, good spirits, thoughts. Sometimes you think it's you, sometimes you know it's not you. Well, that's what ruling and reigning with Christ means. It means that you are taking your thoughts captive and you're literally living a life that is one that's directed towards love, peace, harmony, truth, God. Thank you for the super chat, Jude. I appreciate that so much. There's a new hope is what I'm getting at. Not so much for the man devil. The man devil's not going to be the one that's... The man devil's not going to like when the storm hits him. Remember, the storm hits us both. This is what the scriptures say. Jesus taught it very well. He said, those whose houses are built on sand, it's not going to be good, right? But those that are built on the rock, and the rock is truth, and the truth sets you free from the lies you believe. So, we got a lot of stuff happening. And let me show you some of these, you know, first of all, let me show you the ballroom, okay? This is the video. There you see it's 690,000 views for this video that I did. There's a picture of Solomon's temple up top, and then there's, of course, the instructions for the building of the ballroom on the bottom, and the video went, super, super viral. It's crazy to me. Okay, let me just pull this up and let me just show you. Why is this crazy to me? I'm going to play this for you just because I really like this video. And, if you haven't seen it, it's a good refresher. But just take a listen to this, and then you're going to be blown away.
This is going to be probably the finest ballroom ever built. The spirit on the building of it is amazing. We are using little sections of footings and various other things, but that's sort of irrelevant. In order to do it properly, we had to take down the existing structure.
And you, my son Solomon, acknowledge the God of your father, and serve him with wholehearted devotion and with a willing mind. For the Lord searches every heart and understands every desire and every thought. If you seek him, he will be found by you.
Kept my promise and officially recognized the capital of Israel and moved the American embassy to Jerusalem.
But if you forsake him, he will reject you forever. Consider now, for the Lord has chosen you to build a house as the sanctuary. Be strong and do the work. And David gave his son.
Put out 8 wars, and the 9th is coming, believe it or not.
Solomon the plans for the portico of the temple. Its buildings, its storerooms, its upper parts, its inner rooms, and the place of atonement. He gave him the
Build him a house. That was the coin that President Trump was minting on with King Cyrus back in the day. Now, let me come back to you for a sec. So you get the vibe, right? So I do this whole video and I put it out and I make it out and I do my video and I say, as I'm driving in my car to work, and tell everybody, it's like, yeah, I wouldn't doubt that he'll put the ark in he'll put the ark in there. He'll put the ark in the ballroom because he has a replica of it. He has like an exact replica of it. I don't know if you know this or not, but it's made with pure gold and a lot of things, and it's a beautiful piece. All the influencers were found standing next to it, Laura Loomer, James O'Keefe, and others. So imagine my surprise when because I could tell you exactly the time that I uploaded that video. It was at 2:22. It was exactly 9 hours later that President Trump said these words. Let me just pull this up to you, and you can just take a listen for yourself. And I'm going to explain it to you.
Well, it could even be more than that. Probably, possibly, assuming we can do that. You know, we're building the Ark, and maybe we use it for the Ark. Looks like we might. You know, we're going to be building the Ark. Now, we've raised a lot of money for the ballroom, so maybe we'll put... The Ark is going to be incredible for...
Let me just play that again.
The Ark is going to be incredible.
Where are you going to put it?
Washington, D.C. So maybe we use it for... But the Ark is... Raised a lot of money for the ballroom, so maybe we'll put...
All right, so here's the thing. That's pretty interesting, don't you think? So I wrote, get ready for chills, exactly 9 hours, not 9 house, 9 hours afterwards. 9 hours afterwards, he says those words. He says, yeah, no, we're building the Ark, you know. Because, of course, a lot of people saying, oh, he was talking about the arch, which is also called the Arc de Trump. I don't really care what they call it, but he said he's going to put the Ark in the ballroom. That's why the ballroom was made. So it really doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things to me, how you want to say it. But that to me is like a hit. It's a very palpable hit, as they say. I think that God is revealing a lot today. And it causes me to be excited. It causes me to be so excited that when I saw this hurricane barreling down, I was like, oh Lord, can we please move it? Can we do something? Can we show you? Can we show the world your power? And I'm foolish to think that, you know, there's not going to be hardship in the world. Jesus taught us this. He said you're going to have poor always with you. You're going to have people that are hurting. You're going to have tragedy. You're going to have all these things. We cannot baby-proof the world, my friends. But that's okay, because God's got it all under control. Adversity-based learning is what I'd like to call it. And what better way to express this than to kind of take a look at, I mean, how terrible is it? I have this dream, and then boom, there's flooding everywhere. You know, I thought it was going to be my house, actually. That's what I was really concerned about, to be honest. Because, you know, we just had the roof, and that was kind of a big deal to me. Now, you probably remember, let me come on over to you again. You remember me talking about 3i Atlas? I've talked about it a lot. was interesting because when I wrote for WWE, when it was WWF, one of the guys that I started writing for, we switched writers, was Kurt Angle, and he had the 3 eyes. It was like integrity and something and something and something. 3 eyes. Well, there's 3 pillars in Freemasonry. So you got these 3, the 111, if you will. And the fact that this comet 3-eye Atlas is coming on in, you know, some people might say, oh, well, you know, maybe it's more to do with kind of messing with our minds, you know, and not something that we should really worry about. But then I think to myself, my God, I've had a lot of dreams about aliens. A lot of them. Hang on, let me show you. I'm not joking. I'm not joking. Here in August 20th, alien invasion. I was not prepared, running around trying to get supplies, wasn't ready for it. Remember, my dreams are always personal, I said. Rarely do people see real world connections unless on my channel, which is true. I do have a lot of dreams that come true. Dream I was in the city, phone started acting weird, looked outside, alien invasion, ground invasion, 2 sets of aliens, which I think is kind of cool, one larger and one like an elf. I noticed as I was running away, they were ignoring me. I ran into a building, a large alien grabbed me with tentacles, like the Kraken. An elf alien stopped him and told him to let me go. I realized they were only here for the wicked and hateful. I was grateful to not be captured. Then I went looking for others to assure them we would be okay in the midst of some kind of an alien invasion, which I also had a dream about here where I said scared alien invasion happening. I look out, alien craft looked like helium balloons, and then they released something for a moment, made me blind. I thought I was in terms of demon possession. My take after stumbling on an old video, blind for a moment means I can't see, but maybe I can see what it means. I'm thinking maybe we watch out for a fake alien invasion, huh? What do you think? It's kind of hard not to think about alien invasions when you have every single night you got this going on. Every night we have fireball after fireball after fireball after fireball. What is happening? It's very, very concerning. Some might say, but not me, because I'm not concerned. Are you concerned? What do I got to do? What can I do? Aliens come. Aliens don't come. What does it matter? In the grand scheme of things, I'm a little more concerned about people that are going to suffer in the future. What about food? You know what they say? I was talking to a good friend of mine, and he was talking about like how a small percent of the population, if they go hungry, it's like curtains. And I think that could be a very real thing with this SNAP benefits being something that's going to, you know, I mean, people are already having problems with medication and everything else, but the SNAP benefits are now going. And you probably heard some influencers were going around and they were trying to mass organize, a grab and go where everybody in protest of the government not, helping anymore, that they'll just steal. They'll just steal, which I'm sure is going to bode well for everybody else. You know, it's always the bad apples that ruin it for the bunch. So we got to do some, at this point in time, I want us as like a family, I guess. Can I call you a family? I feel like we're a family. I feel like we're a bunch of like-minded believers. I would like you really to see something good coming out of this before November 1st. The issue is resolved, if it's meant to be. And to hedge our bets, I think that we should all maybe be a little more charitable. It's like if you were thinking of donating to me or something, send some hamburger helper or something to one of your local pantries. Let's start making a better world for everybody, because this is what's happening right now. SNAP benefits are about to go out, and this letter that was dated on October 10th by the USDA Well, they said, look, this is we can't use like the disaster relief funds to hedge these issues. A lot of people are going to go hungry, and that's not a good thing. But I don't know how many people, because I'm not on benefits. My mother, who was a single mom, I don't believe she was ever on food stamps either. I mean, she was 19. We were very poor. We lived in the projects. But I know that government help it's good for people that need it, and if you're blessed enough where you don't, even better, right? But this is going to be a scary thing, because if it's not resolved and people do get hungry, that's where things get really, really ugly. That's not great, and right now with what's happening in Jamaica, I'm going to reload with my God's Champion mug, which, by the way, if you ever want to support the channel, there's another thing you can do. Go in the description of the video. You can, there's all sorts of ways that you can support me. I appreciate it. It really helps. PayPal, Patreon, God's Champion merch. I am a witness, which we're going to be talking about Revelation 11:11, which is what this is based on. Today, we're going to talk about this because 11:11 is around the corner. Right? It's going to be my favorite day. We should do something fun on that day. We should do a live stream or something. But when these SNAP benefits wear out, it's not going to be good. So we got to get together, and we got to, I don't know. I think we got to pray. We got to pray. Let me pull this back up. Let me show you some more of this footage here. So you're dealing with all this space stuff. And you got a lot of people talking about 3i Atlas. Here's some pictures of the storm, just so you could say I showed you some of it. This is one of the barrel in. Thank you, Amber, for the 1111. I appreciate that super chat. Super chats are always great. PayPal is even better, by the way, because YouTube takes a big change. Big pump. That's all right. I don't want to talk people out of supporting it. It means a lot. This is terrible. And I was up all night worrying about it, and I really wanted to see something good come out of it. Then I found out that they already have plans to kind of remake Jamaica. This is right here. It's for Vision 2030 Jamaica. And I think we should go take a look at. Let's open up the website and let's just take a look here. So here's the vision, right? We're going to make it sustainable. That's, of course, the 2030 goals. And, this is in the works. I bet you this is going to come in very handy after everything that just happened with this terrible storm. Looks like it, devastated a lot of areas. Now, is this a bad thing? I don't know. You got to tell me in the comments section. Of course, I don't understand all this stuff. I think to myself, who's in charge of everything, right? Sometimes you got bad people in charge, but who allows it? Why does God allow these things? In the history of my life, I've always noticed that even the suffering is worth nothing compared to what comes out of the suffering. We're learning. I was a cocky, ego, maniac, insecure, scared, self-loathing, cut myself. I was a mess. You can even see it. See? Look at that. Cut myself. I was a mess when I was younger. Not too young. I was still an adult. You got to think about these things. It's crazy what they consider an adult today. The world is not the easiest place. The enemy is going to rise up and it's going to try to eat your face off. It's going to try to make you miserable, hate yourself. Going to try to. But sometimes maybe that beast is there to humble you, to get you to take control, to get you to take your crown. The crown. What does a crown symbolize? A crown symbolizes an authority, a rule. When you see a crown, that crown is telling you that that man wearing the crown is in charge of the kingdom. We're supposed to be given crowns. In Revelation 3:11, it talks about that. And you know who else was just given a crown? President Donald the Trumpster. Let's hear it for the Trumpster. Just give it a crown. This is nuts. Let me show this to you. This is beautiful and crazy. I'm going to get back to Avi Loeb. I'm going to get back to Amuamua. I'm going to get back to this. I'm going to get back to that. Where is it? Where's the crown? Here we go. Now, I think this would be a lot cooler. I think it would have been cooler, like I did in this video where I said the aliens are going to give him a crown. He's going to have a crown, literally be given a crown. That's 2021, by the way. All right. Yeah, this is interesting because he was given this crown. I'm going to play this for you. Just take a look. Let me make sure that the sound is not on. They were really honoring the United States in such a great way. President Trump loves this stuff, you know, because he is a peacemaker, they said. He needs to be given a crown. So here we see a man being anointed as king in front of the world, being recognized every corner of the earth, exactly as I said he would. It's true. I did say that, right? Told you all. And over the years, I've prayed and I've come to understand that you don't send a Chihuahua to do a bull mastiff's job. You know what I mean? If you need to have yourselves tested and tried, the storm's going to come hard. And that beast's going to tear at you. But don't worry, because if you held on to your crown, it's overcome. So let me show you this, because this is pretty amazing. Here we see the crown, and let me just read this to you too. He was finally given the crown that he so rightly deserved. Now, what's wild about this is, let me show you, if I can, go back to it. Let's see. Here we go. On October 18th, I actually posted this. Now, remember the No Kings? And I made a point of saying, why did you give him a feminine crown? You need to give him a male crown. We talked about this. I said he needs to be given a badass crown. And I put out this post on October 18th where I said, say yes to crowns. Say yes. Symbolically, the bride of Christ, everyone, is being given a crown. So if you see the president of the United States being given a crown, you're being given a crown. That's the point. Spiritually speaking, the ego of this world is saying, no kings, there's no rule of heaven, but henceforth there is laid upon me a crown of righteousness, which the Lord, the righteous judge, shall give me at that day. And not only me, do you see? But unto all of them that also love his appearing. He is being given a crown so you can see, but it's not just him being given a crown, it's all of us. I'm going to read that to you again. This is going to stick because I put that out as almost like a prophecy of what was coming. Say yes to crowns. Did they purposely give our president a feminine crown? This is symbolic of the bride of Christ being given a crown. We're the bride of Christ, spiritually speaking. Henceforth, listen to this, there is laid up for me a crown of righteousness, which the Lord, the righteous judge, shall give me at that day, and not to me only, but unto all that love his appearing. All. The crown that is being given in the land right now. The world is saying, no kings, no kings, no kings. Meanwhile, the King of Kings, as they call, the Spirit of the living God, who says, I don't want to be king, I want to be a servant. Because the greatest of all is the servant of all. The crown's not just being given to President Donald Trump, it's being given to all of you. How do I know this? Well, not just because I put it out and said that he would be given a crown very shortly. Not just because of that, not just because of this historic moment where President Donald Trump receives this replica, which is the highest honor that could be given, but because there's more to the story. Do you know that there was unearthed a manuscript in Jerusalem which describes real biblical events that are connected to King Hezekiah. King Hezekiah, you probably remember him. I did shows about King Hezekiah because King Hezekiah had a tunnel. King Hezekiah made a deal, right? The Syrians came in, they conquered all of Israel, but Judah stood strong because it had a righteous king who, remember, wanted to live a little bit longer. The prophet said, you're going to die. And he's like, come on, face to the wall. And he prayed, he humbled himself. He thought, forgive me. What can I do? And then God gave him extra time. I talked about this story, about how we were being given extra time from some kind of impending cataclysmic event. Whether or not there's going to be one, it stands to reason, but I am not scared because I understand the story. So King Hezekiah, he has this tunnel. The Pool of Siloam, let me show you, I'll show you, this is an actual thing. Okay, this is the actual pool. And as you're walking through this is the tunnel. So this was the literal tunnel that was built. Okay, now you see this right here? What does this say? The tunnel created as a passageway that leads to the Pool of Siloam. You can see where David's son Solomon was anointed, the next king. This is the king that we're talking about here, Hezekiah, who built this tunnel. This is where Solomon was anointed, in this tunnel. They created the passageway to the Pool of Siloam. That's where the mud was washed away from the eyes of the blind man. You probably remember the story. Go and wash. And of course, that's very symbolic because what that really means is that, you can't see the truth of God, and then what happens? So the Pool of Siloam was the place where you washed yourself before you made the journey to the temple to give praise. It was like the most important part. Now, what happened was when Rome came in, they destroyed that area. They destroyed that pool. They destroyed everything, okay? But it was uncovered by accident. It was covered up by a sewage system. Believe it or not, Rome created like toilets on top of this holy place. But it was uncovered years ago, and I talked about it. Now it's restored. So you can literally go there now. You can see these tunnels. This is all so amazing to me because we have President Donald Trump being given a crown, who so seems to be fulfilling, these old stories. Solomon's Temple. That video going viral. And then what, the next day, 9 hours later? He said, maybe we're going to put the ark in it. We're going to put the ark in it. It's an example of what's happening for all of us. It's an example. It's a metaphor. The crown, not just onto one person, but onto us all. This is an amazing thing. But a lot of people are very stressed out, and maybe rightly so. But when I see stuff like this and people are screaming, oh, this will be the end and this will be the boom, boom, boom. And I say, this is the literal representation of what's spiritually happening. Of course, it's not the real deal. Of course. It's an image. It's an image. But the thing that really matters is the fact that right now, a lot of people are stressed about Comet Atlas, which, by the way, speaking of flooding, speaking of other things, maybe storms are acting out for a reason, and maybe this is the reason. Just take a listen to this. This is a clip from my video where I said Atlas was going to be a, like a space, probably they were going to call it an alien craft, long before anybody said it. It's I think it was 10 days before Avi Loeb. All right, take a listen. Like how you put magnets together, they kind of repel each other. Well, if you bring in massive bodies, it affects everything around. Right? This is like Einstein stuff, all the big physics stuff. if some massive planet's kind of coming in, it's going to jostle things around. It's going to move stuff from the outer, the Oort cloud into here, and it could pose a little bit of a threat. Am I concerned about it? No. I'm more concerned about all the stuff that's going on right now with the government. I'm a little concerned about what's going on with AI. The fact that AI could be sentient. It's like we have all this stuff coming at us, and tomorrow's 7/11. 7/11, 7/11, 7/11 from heaven. So I wanted to, considering I was saying the flood was coming, I was talking about the flood, I wanted to talk about the actual flood that God brought upon man to wipe out and destroy all of those that were wicked, because the world had turned over to wickedness. You probably feel that way yourself sometimes. You find that you go online and it seems like a little bit of a cesspool. Well, what has happened to the world? Why have people gotten so corrupt? Why do we have criminals that are getting off? Why is Diddy now going to be free, right? Maybe, did he give somebody some info, like I theorized, saying that he may not end up in jail? Why is nothing turning up with, Jeffrey in this case? Why? When all they did was promote it and made it sound like it was so great. It feels like there's such corruption that perhaps we need some kind of an event to shake us out of our slumber, to wake us up. You all having fun yet? You all having fun yet? You all having a good time? I hope you're having a good time. I hope by now you've hit that like button. I hope you have subscribed to the channel. Maybe even left a comment. Maybe told your friends to check out my last video that now is almost 1 million views on X. It's so strange. I think that we could hem and haw, and we could get so stressed out, and we can be like, hey, you got to worry about the AI, the robots, and all that stuff. They're taking over. The AI is spooky. We don't know what's real, what's not real. I've said this before. This is the frogs of revelation that come out of the mouth of the beast, the false prophet, and the Antichrist. The 3 frogs of revelation, they're unclean spirits. They're spirits of deception. They go out into the earth and they get into every aspect of everybody's business, like the frogs that did this in Moses' day. These frogs, right? They're unclean. They're amphibious. They live in both water and earth. These croaking all day long on your Twitter feed or your X feed, whatever you want to call it today. The frogs. Could these unclean spirits be AI? Could they be AI companies? Because really, what is a spirit? But a spirit is a word. Jesus said, my words are spirit and they are truth. So how do we know what's true today? When you have the beast rising from the abyss, a bottomless pit, meaning there's no truth in it, there's no foundation in it. The beast that rises up out of lies is destined for destruction. And that's what's coming. Symbolized, ironically, in all this stuff with Halo and Master Chief. It's a good series if you want to check it out. You should really look into it. But here's Avi Loeb getting everybody freaked out about today. Now, so far today, so good. No aliens have taken over, correct? Yes, no. Nobody is taken over. We're alive. We're okay. That's probably not the way it happens. I'm just going to play this for you. Just take a listen.
It will pass closest to the sun on October 29th, 2025. I got a text message the other day from someone who said that he is trading options on the volatility of the market with an expiration date of October 29th in order to make money. And I immediately thought that I don't know if there will be meaning to money if this object turns out to be technological after October 29th. If you want to take a vacation, take it before that date, because who knows what will happen. Now, it will pass closest to the sun on October 29th, 2025.
My mic was muted. I'm so sorry about that. Sometimes I make mistakes. I'm not a perfect man. But we should celebrate because we don't want to lose the crown. We've been given a crown that we can't lose. We want to hold on to it. We want to hold on to it. So I want to show you this, okay? Because this is where it gets very interesting. The White House put this out, and let me just mute this, okay? 27 days later, Democrats are still making this harder than it has to be. Put America first. Open the government. Democrat shutdown. TM. Everything TM. It's like a copyright symbol. It's crazy. So they put this out, October 27th at 2 p.m. And look what I put out. Because you know me, I'm a funny guy. I'm a silly guy. I try to make people laugh. I wrote, the White House knows full well it all happens 28 days later. And then I wrote, would it be weird if anything infection-related happens? Freaking zombies. Yeah. Anybody hear about the old monkeys? They love to pull out the monkey business, don't they? Monkey business, they use that psyop. They roll it in every once in a while, and then they gear you up for it. They get you ready for the monkey news, which turned out to be a big nothing burger, by the way. He didn't even have, or she didn't have, any of the stuff that they said. It was like HIV and hepatitis, whatever, and the virus of the crown, scary, vicious monkey. And of course, everybody thinks of 28 days later, the rage virus that was started by the monkey, the rage. Don't snap. Get it? Don't snap. Snap benefits. They set it up so that you would snap if you didn't have them. Do you see what I mean? It's almost like it's word magic. It's like, we're living in the land of Egypt, and I'm battling wizards and sorcerers. How about you? I'm not worried about it, though, because in the grand scheme of things, God's in control. Put one foot in front of the other. You work hard. You keep your nose clean. You're always going to be good. Take care of your family. Be loving. Be, please, compassionate during this time. Let's all get out there. Let's all kind of support. And let's get our family involved. And let's show our children how important it is to be charitable. You don't have to do much. Go in, hand in the food that you don't even like. That stuff that you bought. You got that tuna fish on that. You have those cans. You're never going to eat them, right? It's just too much work. You got to add the mayo, and you got to, put the chives in and all that stuff. Bring them some tuna. Help out in the midst of all of this stuff. Genesis 11:7 is about the tower being built and people's languages being confused. But Revelation 11:7, we're not talking about 7:11 now, we're talking about 11:7, has to do with the witnesses of God. The witnesses of God, which, by the way, you are, whether you know it or not. So this story is about us. It's two witnesses. There's the idea of who we are, and there is who we are in Christ. The two. In scriptures, they say that these are the two that sit at, they're at the grinding stone, grinding. Two are in the field, two are on the roof, two are in the bed. Two are making peanut butter and jelly sandwiches so that they can snuggle up next to the Dan and have some snacks every night at 7 when we go to bed. We go to bed early because we get up early. Two, duality, symbolic. It's very symbolic. We have a witness in the world and we have a witness in heaven. They're the two lampstands, the two olive trees that are written about in Scripture. This is what Revelation 11 is. Revelation 11:7 is about the beast rising out of the abyss, which seems so scary. Seems so scary when you look at it. I'm just going to read that to you. Now, when they finished their testimony, that's the witnesses. They're giving their testimony. They're telling everybody their story, and they've gone and they've done the work of God, and they felt good about themselves. And then when they finished their testimony, what does the devil do? He'll make you feel, but you ever do that? You ever do that, by the way? You ever you feel like you did something good. You share your story with people. Oh, everything was really hard for me, and I used to cut myself because they told me I was crazy and put me on a lot of drugs, and I realized it was all a big scam. And I was being messed with dumb thoughts that now I don't even think about because they're not real. I love my life. Everything is good. Blessed. You're blessed. So stupid. Listen to these dumb thoughts, right? Things are hard sometimes. Yes, I have tinnitus that is blasting my head off all the time. But it is what it is. What are you going to do? Adversity. When you have that little granular in the oyster that annoys and has the oyster suffer for a long time, it produces that pearl. And that pearl is only harvested when that oyster finally opens up and lets go. It's time for us to just, hang on to our crown. So they finished their testimony. Imagine I'm doing something great, and then all of a sudden, I don't know, I get a thought to, maybe I could just have a couple of drinks, something like that. If I was like an alcoholic, or if I was a recovered, say, drug addict or something, and I'm telling everybody about my testimony and everything else, and then like something comes up and will tempt you. That's what happens. That's what this is about. It's not, and it doesn't have to be so dramatic as you have to be an addict. It could be, you're getting along great with your family. You're doing great. And you meet a stranger and you share the love of God with them, and then you get home and then you get into a fight with your wife and you do stupid things, or you get into a fight with your husband and you say stupid things. That beast comes up and destroys you so that everybody can mock you and laugh at you. You see what I mean? This is stuff that happens within. You're getting right now, by the way, you're getting like a little bit of a lesson. I hope you can receive it. So here it is, because we're the witnesses. This is about the two witnesses. I want to read this to you. It says here, now when they finish their testimony, the beast that comes up from the abyss will attack them and overpower them and kill them. Their bodies will lie in the public square of the great city, which is figuratively called Sodom and Egypt, where also the Lord was crucified. By the way, this is highly symbolic. Sodom and Egypt is symbolic as well, because of course the Lord was crucified in Golgotha, not Sodom or Egypt. But it's symbolic, it's figurative, because it says this, which is figuratively called Sodom and Egypt, where also the Lord was crucified. For 3.5 days, some of every people, tribe, language, and nation will gaze on their bodies and refuse them burial. You're going to suffer. I'm not going to help, right? I'm not going to put this to bed. I'm not going to let you rest. This is the way it is. To the inhabitants of the earth, they'll gloat over them. They'll celebrate by sending each other gifts, because these two prophets had tormented those that live on the earth. And after those 3.5 days, the breath of life enters them, and they stand on their feet, and terror struck those who saw them. Now, imagine, by the way, that these people on the earth are not really people on the earth, but it's like natures that are within us. Natures like carnal natures that are within us, that don't want to be subjected to the things of God. And know that every time that you get out of line and you do the wrong thing, that there's going to be some kind of a karmic correction that comes your way. God is not mocked. Whatever a person sows, they shall also reap. So we have to really make a point of doing the right thing. And when we have all this stuff with Snap, and we have all this massive panic, and we have the chaos of these terrible storms, all of which are so symbolic, I think I want you all to relax. And I want you to be comforted. The console wars are over. You get it? The console wars are over. It's time for us to comfort each other in the Lord. It's time for us to lift each other up. It's time for us to give ourselves a little bit of a break. We can do only the best that we can. And you're doing great, and you're more than an overcomer. And no matter where you are right now, no matter what you're going through, you're watching right now, you're doing amazing. Why? Not just because of you, but because God chose you. And you're choosing the harder path. You're looking for work when you know that you're going to be losing benefits if you can. You're putting the right foot forward. That's what we need today, and that's what God is going to honor. So don't get stressed about the aliens. Don't get stressed about all that. I hope that you're a little bit more encouraged to go and maybe be a little more charitable if you can. I got to remind myself too. Don't feel bad, right? I do this, and then I work at the mattress store, which I love helping people. And so I work a lot. You know, it's sometimes it's hard for us to remember, oh, you know, maybe we could reach out to the community. I think we should reach out to the community. I think that we should. And, you know, when you do, just tell them Jacob sent you. Tell them Jacob told me to come by and drop this off. Then tell them the YouTube channel, Jacob Israel on YouTube, Jacob's Ladder on YouTube. I think I'm going to change it back to Jacob Israel, by the way. It is Jacob's Ladder, but I think I'm going to change the name back to Jacob Israel. You know, I don't know. I just got that vibe. All right, listen, I love each and every one of you. I'll talk to you soon. Please tell your friends to have the best day ever. Please make amends. Please do the right thing. And don't forget to go to the links in the description. You know, you can support there. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye. I think this was a good